Whatever you do at the crossroads, don't turn left. This is a line in a book that Avery claims he did not write. 2 weeks ago, a YouTube channel named Avery the Mayo uploaded a video called Weird Book I Did Not Write, where he shows us a mine that he supposedly did not build. Inside the mine, a chest that Avery did not place. And inside the chest, a book that Avery did not write. And inside the book, a really strange message. Whatever you do at the crossroads, don't turn left. Don't be fooled. It's listening. You can't outsmart it. It's listening to me and it's watching me. It isn't from this world. At the crossroads, don't turn left. 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 Over and over, followed by some kind of numbers. And that's it. It seems impossible that some kind of mine appears in your world without your knowledge. But Avery explains in the description of the video that the laptop he's playing on is from a storage locker. It already had Minecraft installed, and this world was already existing. And when he spawned, it was just like any world. And he only discovered this mine just a few hundred blocks over his house. So in that case, what is this book? The content is very strange, and it's not evident to what they're referring to. If anything, they just sound like any crazy rambling. But the numbers at the end are clearly some kind of code, so maybe we can solve it and see what this book is actually talking about. Except we can't. The numbers go higher than 26, so it's not an alphabetical code. There are 4 sections, not 3, so it isn't coordinates. In fact, there isn't a single cipher that comes up as good match for this code. And if it is a code, it's unlike any code I've ever seen. And I wasn't able to decipher it. So is that it? A strange one-off YouTube video. And a dead end? Not quite. Because for 2 frames at the very end of the video, Avery's inventory flashes a random pattern of blocks. And this time, there is a code. Because taking the first letter of the name of every block and capitalizing it if there's more than one, you get a string. A string that perfectly matches the length of Google Drive link. That when you enter, it takes you to a folder. And this is where the true mystery begins. A mystery of a Minecraft world that doesn't exist. Opening the video named Footage 1, we can see a player in the exact same spot as Avery was in the last video. Except now, he has way more items than he had last time. Presumably, this is from his house and he's come to use this mine to survive, as part of the game. The book is now gone from the chest. But it could be that Avery just burned it because it creeped him out. Or it's just this book in his inventory. Regardless, Avery lines up with the other strip mine and begins to start a new one into the wall. But when he does, he finds this. Nothing weird, it's just a cave, and Avery walks in to begin exploring, until he stops and sees this. It's pretty hard to make out, but as he walks closer, we can see what it is. Moss and grass. This was immediately a red flag because this kind of terrain does not generate in caves. Avery checks underneath it, but there's nothing else either. And when he runs back to get his torches, he notices yet another patch of moss and grass in the corner of the cave. Again, not natural, but not leading anywhere either. It's only when he heads back down the cave and he sees this. A tree. Avery approaches the clump of greenery and there it is. A tree, unlike any other oak tree in the entire game. Whatever this is, it's not normal. Avery backtracks a bit and we get a better look at this shrub, for lack of better words. And after some hesitation and circling around a bit, Avery decides to mine the tree. And he does, with no problems. It looks like any normal tree. Except, normal trees don't generate underground. And it's not the only one. As Avery goes deeper and deeper into the cave, he passes larger and larger patches of greenery, coming across more shrubs and even more trees, and even more moss. He pauses to talk at some point, but instead of commenting on the trees, he brings up something else. It's weird, we've only seen stone. And I guess he's right. The walls of this cave don't have any diorite, diamonds, or even rubies. But come on, there's a bigger elephant in the room here. At some point, Avery's wish gets granted, and the cave turns into terracotta, tough and deep slate. The greenery turns larger and larger, with the trees growing bigger and bigger. Until finally, Avery reaches the end. Avery stops for several seconds, just taking everything in. The room is a giant cave of green, with strange, unnaturally large trees, forming a staircase at the back of the wall. The floor is covered with a massive field of moss and green. Avery tries to get down slowly with trying his best not to get too much damage, while maneuvering his way to the bottom. He looks around in awe while exploring the chamber, and from closer up we can see a tunnel in between the massive tree gates. Avery looks around for a couple of minutes, easily mesmerized by the build. And we can see that these gates are made of trees stacked on trees stacked on trees, made of mud and oak. But the question here is obvious. What is this place? This kind of terrain obviously does not generate by itself in a normal world. So who made it, or how did it just come up in Avery's world? Well, if there's any answer to all these questions, it's through this tunnel. Because finally, Avery decides to stop sightseeing and heads into the tunnel in the middle of the room. Avery walks through the mud brick tunnel, turning to glance behind him every few steps. But of course, nothing's there. The world is sent to single-player mode. At least, it seems that way. Until this happens. Something's wrong. It's almost impossible to notice. But at the far edge of the tunnel, the first pair of the torches got wiped out. Avery stares for a few seconds, but then continues walking. Another pair of torches is gone. I'm not scared of a game.
Why I just jumped down. I wasn't scared, but I felt compelled. I've never felt like that in my life.
What is going on here? Everything went from incredibly strange to incredibly creepy in seconds. This doesn't happen in any normal world, but Avery did mention that he got his laptop from a storage locker, so maybe this world is just created by the past owner of this laptop, and it's just some strange horror adventure map. Case closed. Except it's not. Because the video files aren't the only thing in the Google Drive folder. If you remember, there's also this PDF, and by opening it we see this.
My exploration into a strange tunnel I found in my Minecraft world. I've been playing this world for a while and just discovered this. This is my documentation of the search. Notably, when I installed Minecraft, this world came pre-created. Always thought that was a little strange, but I'm not really sure.
This seems okay enough, but remember what Avery said earlier. He found this computer in a storage locker with Minecraft installed. Not he installed Minecraft and the world was there. Admittedly, it's a pretty small difference, but still, why the conflicting story? And something you may have not noticed, but I can't explain, is why Avery's name is now censored. It wasn't censored in the previous videos, but now he both hid his name and changed his skin. Almost like he's hiding from something. But there's still a whole lot of this footage. So if you want to know what is this world and why it exists and what does it have to do anything with Avery, we have to keep watching. As Avery runs from whatever it is that is hiding in this world, Avery says he has to keep moving although he doesn't know exactly why. And the only way to go is down. Avery takes a leap into the giant pool of water in front of him and swims down into a junction of tunnels. After some hesitation, he glitches himself into the wall for some air before swimming down the left tunnel. He continues to navigate through the dark tunnel, the tunnel getting narrower and narrower, with no ending sight. Until it opens to a giant cave of water with just enough space to get some air. When Avery dives again, we can see some tunnel openings across the wall. Avery scans around with no marker where to go, just tunnels and tunnels as far as the eye can see. And then he hears it. The same sound when the whisper started the first time. As Avery starts to lock himself up, we hear those voices again. Quieter, but still there, as if they're passing by. When the coast is clear, Avery digs out, but what now? He has no choice but to gamble upon a tunnel and pray it's right. He scans around a bit, not sure which one to pick. But finally, he rolls the dice. The tunnel leads to another junction, and again, after a small hesitation, Avery turns left. The tunnel continues. The tunnel getting narrower and narrower and narrower. Until finally, he finds himself in the oasis. Avery looks around the room, strangely almost peaceful. He's in the middle of a square pond that is surrounded by the same oak trees. He stares at the water for a good second before towering up so he can get a better look from a high place. Nothing but trees as far as the eye can see. For a moment, he pauses. Before something snaps, he crafts a boat and uses it as fast as he can to get to the center of the lake and blocks the hole.
If this thing comes through here again, it has to break that, but I need to explore.
He sails back to the edge of the lake.
What I can't avoid doing is loading the chunk.
Avery chops some trees and makes a hopper out of his spare iron that was in his inventory. His plan was simple. Set a trap for the thing that was following him. But wait, did I miss something? How does he even know that something's following him? Sure, the torches were off and we heard something that was coming before, but I have a stronger piece of evidence that I haven't mentioned. Remember when Avery said this?
I already heard you in the cave.
Well, it took me a second to know what exactly he meant, but then I heard this. It's almost impossible to make out, but on a few separate instances, while Avery was walking in the cave, he would randomly pause for a second or two. And now we know why. He was just listening. Every time he paused for just a brief moment, you could hear footsteps on the stones right behind him. Stopping just a fraction of a second too late to be quiet. But okay, if something is really following Avery somehow in a single player mode, how could he even stop it or at least get it to reveal itself? Well, that's exactly what he's doing right now. Like he said, he needs time to look around and explore this world, but while he was gone, anything can just swim through the hole and replace the blocks like nothing happened. But if Avery turns down his render distance and puts items in this hopper, if he then goes far enough away and unloads this chunk, the only way for the hopper to be empty when he returns is if something loaded the chunk while he was gone, and just then, whatever is following him will be exposed. The trap is set. Now it's time to explore. Avery walks through the trees, avoiding the lake so he wouldn't load the chunk. Every inch of this place looks exactly the same. The same gray floors, the same weird trees. Everywhere he looks, there's nothing. Until, just in the corner of the screen, there's a sign. But it's pretty hard to spot and Avery doesn't seem to see it, and he keeps walking. Then he pauses.
Interesting. That's the third sign we've seen so far.
What? Where? Third sign? I've only seen one. But turns out he's right. Going back and watching the footage, it's barely seen. But it's true, there were two actual signs in the footage that we did not spot earlier, though he gave no indication at the time that he noticed them. Avery goes back to all three signs. All of them are blank, so I have no idea what to make out of it. But Avery seems to be satisfied, then he explains why.
These signs all seem to point to one place. Both of these angled ones point in the same direction.
And he's right. If you line up a coordinate grid with the location and the rotation of the signs, you get this. So he's right, they all point to a certain way. And if you trace out their intersection, it hits one specific point. He also pulls off this brilliant move by turning the difficulty to peaceful because he ran out of food, was absolutely genius. But with that said, he goes to the lake to check his contraption, and nothing showed up. Items are still flowing out of the hopper, which would be impossible if anything had loaded the chunk. Avery tells us exactly this.
Nothing came through.
Not to mention, the blocks are in the same position as Avery placed them to block the hole. Now that he's shaken off whatever was following him, Avery sails back, presumably to find the intersection points of the signs. But before he does that, he opens the chat and says this.
Something is here.
What? How? Why is Avery saying that, and why isn't he sending it in the chat? What did he even see?
I don't know if it can hear me, but I'm not taking any chances.
The grass block. When Avery left the chunk, he didn't just leave one trap to the entity. He set two. Without mentioning anything to us, he placed a grass block next to a dirt block. In Minecraft, grass can't spread if the chunk isn't loaded. The only way that this block is now grass is if something other than Avery loaded this chunk.
I'm not scared, but my gut says to keep moving.